Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm sharing a slightly different project for you today. Obviously it's a journal, you can see, and I'm uploading this at the beginning of April. I'm not sure when it will be published, so some of the things I say might seem a bit strange, I don't know. I've been in touch with Joyce Kers, who some of you will know. She makes beautiful, beautiful journals and artwork, and I'll put her link below so that you can go and have a look if you don't know her. Anyway, she sent me a package of goodies and a little challenge, and the challenge was to use the majority of what was in the package to make a journal, which I'm obviously going to send to her. It's quite daunting for me because I admire Joyce's work so much. I wanted this journal to be a little different from my usual and a bit more arty, but I couldn't do it. This was actually, fortunately there was quite a bit of material, so this was my second go. I'm not going to rabbit on for too long because I know how boring that is at the beginning of videos. So anyway, this was the main fabric, which I've used to cover some cardstock, and I've made one of my single signature journals. It is quite full, is the only other thing I would say. The ribbons were, there was some lace in the package which I've used inside the journal. But most of these ribbons, this chiffon silk, I've had in my stash. I've made or added a boho bead that went with this journal, which I'll try and show you. So that's a pretty one there, and picks up the green and the pink. And I've made a chain dangle, some butterflies and some of those pink beads just to hang down the side there. Put some extra bows on the opening, which look pretty but are a bit annoying because every time you tie this ribbon you tend to get this caught up in it, so those will just come off, Joyce. And I've used a Tim Holtz book plate. On the side here I've made some dangles that are hung on to ball pins, and these little seed beads that I've decorated the pins with were in Joyce's package. Anyway, I've made her some so that I could fulfill the challenge and use the majority of what she'd sent. I have made some tags to go with this journal, some extra ones which I'll show you as well. So I've mostly used roses and French ladies, and I've used Mrs. Cogg's White in the Garden kit a little bit as well, but I have snuck in a flower fairy just because I like them so much, and there is a Beatrix Potter bit of ephemera in here. So this is, oh, I had this lovely tissue paper as well in Joyce's package, and I've used that just on a couple of small tags, and I've used it behind the found quotes that I've put into this book. I've used tea-dyed paper. This was from Joyce. I wished afterwards that I'd used more furniture stuff in this journal, but I don't really have any, so this is a postcard I've made, and I've included some vintage real ephemera. This is from a French fashion magazine from 1893. Unfortunately it tore in half, or started to tear in half, so I just separated it and used the other half later on. This is a card that I've made, and this is also some genuine French, I think it's a check or receipt, in this tag that I've made from a sheet of the paper that was included in Joyce's package. This ribbon was also in her gift to me. I've used some French book pages. This was from Joyce, and I've stitched that onto a rose print. I've stamped it, added a bit of French print there. There's some stenciling and stamping on some of the pages. This was in Joyce's package. I've made a couple of collage pages. This one, who was this? This was inspired by Robin Dudley Howells, very much so. So we've got a long tag in the back and a journal card in this envelope, which I've made and collaged together. I've used a bit of gold splattering here and there throughout this journal as well. And I've used this ribbon to make a tab. There were wire in the edges, but I took the wire out. This was my paper, but I thought it complemented Joyce's black and white quite well. This is one of my collage tags. This paper was from Joyce, and I've done a collage pocket on the back and a journal card, and I've used some of that ribbon as the tab. Some of my vintage ledger paper in, another little bead dangle, and this bead has got tiny rows on it. This I've printed out on vellum paper, an image from the old design shop. This is genuine ephemera, French embroidery pattern. This is graphic 45, and I've used hearts as I did on the long tab, and just put some little gold hearts in the centre of those. This is the Beatrix Potter print I've used, and I just liked the way the colours totally echoed the fabric on the cover. This was the other bit of lace that was in Joyce's package. Another French lady in a collage pocket. This is the other side of the vellum with the old design shop. Of those pins with a little butterfly dangle. Try to use quotes that might inspire some journaling, because even though this is quite full, I still wanted it to be a journal with plenty of space for writing and adding your own bits and bobs to. Another collage tag that I've put together. This one has got mainly a stamped background. And the final dangle. This Joyce sent. This was a die cut, plain card die cut. Joyce was a designer, I think, for a number of companies, and I can't just remember at the moment who she designed this for, but she did design the die cut. Or chipboard piece, and I've gold embossed it quite a few times to build it up a bit, and there's a little bit of the pattern paper there for the chair cushion, and I've just put that on top of a glassine envelope. Hopefully I can get that back in, there we go. And another of the long tags inspired by Robin Dudley Howells. I'll put her link below as well if I remember. This is an envelope I've put together, and I've done the little cluster again there, and we're just coming to the end. Another of the ruffles. This is the bottom of that piece that was a little bit torn, so Joyce can put that together if she wants to, or use it for something else. A matching tag to the front, and that's the end of the book. So I hope you like it, Joyce. I should be packing it up shortly and sending it on its way. I'm just going to show you now what I've made to go with it. So there are some matching tags. This one is a little sample book. Some papers I had. This one was from Joyce. The others I think were all mine. That's a bit of the fabric. So you can use those. This This is a journal card and some sari trim that I had. This was from Joyce. One of the reasons I wanted to make these tags, etc., was because Joyce had included some quite dimensional jewellery or beads, and I didn't want to put them in the journal, but I wanted her to have them back. So these were a couple of them. So I'd put that, it's just curving a little bit, so I put that on a collage tag. She sent me an Eiffel Tower in gold, which is quite unusual. I was quite tempted to keep that actually, Joyce, but anyway. I've used it, a bit of vintage lace on there and some more sari trim. This was in the package. Obviously it had a little ring at the top, so I could have dangled it, but I wanted to use it as an embellishment, and I've just filled the hole with a little bit of glitter glue in there. And this is from the Edith Holden notes book, with some more of the gems that Joyce included in her package. This I had in my stash, and this is some vintage lace. And just to finish off, I've included 3 little stitched items that I've made at different times. These 2 I finished off quite recently. This one has been made for a little while. And that's my gift back to Joyce. So thank you for watching. It's a bit longer than usual, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye bye.